Come with me on a colourful journey from this to Welcome to Graceful Art Designs. This painting is going to be, I'm going to approach it slightly differently to the other colourful paintings with the multicoloured backgrounds and all the different coloured shapes. In that the macaw I'm painting just in 3 different colours to start with, maybe 4, I'll see. Just flat, and then after that I'll paint the feathers on him in the colours that I want. And my background diagram is a bit of a mess because everything I had in the beginning was disproportionate to the macaw, who, although he is big, almost a metre, he's 90 centimetres long in reality, he can't be that big next to the sheep, who are rather large. So I'm going to just paint him in 3 colours, and the sheep I will paint in 3 colours, yellow, orange, and maybe burnt umber. So I'm not going to be doing the whole colour of the rainbow in each animal, because the background is also going to be colourful, and then it's going to be difficult to navigate my way around. So I started off with a really disastrous bad brush, and I'm trying to fix it up now. Anyway, this is step 1. I'll bring you back when there's more to see. I've completed the sheep and the tree, and I think it looks all right. Well, a mess right now, but it's okay. It will work out in the end. I see now that the colours are not quite joined up together. I just filled in the spaces with random shapes. I ended up using my flat brush, as it seemed to be the best brush for the purpose of just, making these shapes. But now I'm doing the background grass, where the grass will be. And so I'm making it in different shades of green and hopefully some different shapes, because right now they all seem to be turning out the same exact shape. And after that I will decide what colours I'm going to make each individual object. Clearly the sheep will be white. That the white will cover most of the colour in the sheep. The colour in the sheep will just be sort of underneath the white wool. The bird, the macaw, will have the colours that are quite common for those kind of birds. I just haven't decided in which order they'll be. And then the background will be a mixture of, it will just be glazed over with green and maybe pops of white flowers and red flowers here and there. I haven't decided on that yet either. I'll see how the paint flows and how it works together. But for now, that's where I'm going. So I'll bring you back when I've reached that point. I seem to not have enough colours in my box that's on the table, and I'm too lazy to get up and go and scratch around in the other box with a different brand. But you might be wondering why I chose to paint a macaw with sheep, and the answer is simply I wanted to paint a macaw for a long time, and I wanted to paint sheep for a long time. And so I had this rather large canvas. I thought, well, why not just do them together? They don't belong in the same environment, and the sheep are probably asking themselves the same question. They're saying, bah, bah, who is he? What's he doing here? And the macaw is saying, oh, these are funny-looking, fluffy creatures. I wonder what they're doing here. But maybe they'll become friends in the end. So I'm sure they're having a very interesting conversation amongst themselves. That was step 2, joining up the background together with various greens and blues, and now I'm going to cover it all with white. I realized after I rummaged around, I found my phthalo green and my viridian green, and they're very similar, so much so that when they're next to each other you can hardly see the difference. But yet if you use them separately, they do look quite different. So anyway, I'm going to now just cover everything with a very thin layer of white. and I mean a lot of oil. The paint that I put on the canvas was originally mixed with oil, but still seemed to be quite dry, so it definitely needs more oil, and it will lighten things up a bit. There was too much white, but it'll come right. So that's what I'm going to do, and make the painting a whole lot more palatable, because so much green in the background is just too much. The idea is to just have a light glaze of the oil and the white over the green. So I dip my brush in the oil, and I dip it into a little of the white, mix it together, and then take it onto the canvas. And I'm doing it very lightly, so I'm not painting hard, so that I'm not taking away the colours underneath. I'm just softening them. Oh, I'll soften the sheep there. And but leaving enough behind that I can see my way around. I can still see the branches of the trees, and hopefully I will still see the sheep. Definitely don't want to cover the sheep. But the white is not, the white on the sheep is going to be a lot stronger. And this also will just help to define everything, which is at the moment very broken up and not defined at all. Okay, there can be little patches of white here and there. It won't harm. Just a bit of light. Step 3 was covering the background with a glaze of white, and it made a very pretty colour. I think combined the colours, all the greens and the blues together very nicely. I really like the effect. But once I finished it, I realised that I didn't like the composition of my painting at all. And this sheep was lying down in the grass. I wanted him standing up, or her, and I wanted this one bigger down here. They were two directly underneath each other, and this one I want looking forward that way to the bird. And even though I've made them a whole lot smaller, he still looks disproportionately large. But if I make him any smaller, it's going to ruin you won't see as much of the colour, the beautiful colours in him that I want to leave showing. So I'll leave that for now and just focus on the sheep, because now I have to put back colours into the sheep and put back grass, and so I'll do that off camera. No need to put you through that. I have to remove that, cover that with grass. So sometimes that happens. If you don't have a diagram, well, I did do a sketch, but it wasn't, I didn't do it on a drawing pad, and I just did it straight on the canvas, and I didn't really look at it for very long and really consider how it was going to look once it was filled in. So best to correct your mistakes before it's too late. And the paint is very dry, which I'm surprised. It's winter, but it's absolutely bone dry, and so that made it difficult to remove, so I had to just cover it with white. Just to recap, step 3 was glazing the background with some white, thinned out white with oil, and then I had to do all the changes that I was not happy with. So I have made the bird a lot smaller, and I'm definitely not going to make him any smaller than that. He's just going to have to be a giant macaw. And the sheep, I have turned their faces towards him, and I think I need to turn them some more. But I'll do that now as I put the wool onto them. And so I'm using the filbert brush again for the wool. I'll see how it's going to work. And I think I'm going to have to either stand up or put the canvas on my lap. And I hope it's dried underneath here, because I just can't see the way it was. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave the face till last, but I'm going to be essentially putting sort of little bubbles of wool across the sheep like that. And then once they're all in place, I may drag them out a little into the colour beneath. But I want to keep some of that colour, but not all of it. Just to give some life to essentially white sheep, although of course they're probably not white, they're probably a kind of a dirty yellowy white, but anyway. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll bring you back when I have made some more progress. Step 5 is actually painting the sheep, and this is where the painting at last starts to take shape. So I've thinned out the white, oh, seems not thin enough. I'm going to just drag it down from each little, bobbly line, and cover some of that background, not all of it. The whole reason to me for doing these multicolored backgrounds is to just add some fun and interest to the paintings. I think they made beautiful roses. I think they made an interesting elephant, and now the sheep. Of course, I never know until they actually take shape how they're going to turn out. But I painted my cattle, my white park cattle from the Mapperton estate, as realistically as I could. And not a lot of people seem to be interested in that. That surprised me, because I painted them out of love for nature, and just being glad that somebody has been able to revive them, bring them back before they became extinct. But doesn't mean that other people who are interested in art are also interested in them. So hopefully they'll be more interested in something like this, which is abstract realism, giving a different look to the sheep. That's the first layer of white on the sheep. After making the lines, I then dragged the white over the colour lightly, and sort of made the outlines very shaggy and fluffy. And I might have to do another layer. I'll see how it dries. In the meantime, I'm starting with step 6, I guess, with the macaw, and I'm doing red on his head. He is a red macaw, basically, but he'll have other colours in him as well. So that's going to be red around there, and down to his neck. There's a black part over there that needs to come in. And so the colours underneath were just in order to give life to these colours on top. So that was just the undercoating. Now I'm using the filbert brush, and I'm going to be just putting it down like that, and then another one on top of that, and so on, to give that feathery look. And depending on how it works, I might have to do another layer when it's dry, or it might be enough. I'll see. And so after the red, I'm going to do blue and then green. I don't think I'll do yellow as well. There will be yellow in his beak, so I think that will be enough. I've completed the sheep and the bird as well. Well, I haven't actually completed the bird, the macaw. I'm quite happy with the green and the blue, but the red needs another layer. It's looking very bright on the camera, but it's very dark when I look at it in front of me here. I can't see the distinction of the feathers like I can there. So I need to use a lighter red, and then just use the side of the brush. And in the meantime, while I wait for it to dry, I'm adding some almond blossoms to the tree. And I just need to find another pack of these brushes. The other pack I had was awful, and they fell apart, and I haven't seen another pack since. And I need a smaller filbert for these small little things like flowers and so on, but I'll just have to make do in the meantime.